Welcome to Lunch with Legacy Leaders, a weekly talk show with local and national thought leaders on issues impacting the Black community. Now introducing our host, Miss Anne Marie Sorrell.
Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Lunch with Legacy Leaders. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join us on this uh, wonderful Thursday. Before we get started, I'd like to thank our sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Broward Health, AARP, the Solid Waste Authority of Palm Beach County, and the African American Black Alzheimer's Disease Initiative at the John P. Husband Institute for Human Genomics, University of Miami Miller School of Medicine. If you or someone you know is experiencing loss of memory or memory problems, please contact their research team for more information at 877-686-6444. Now, today I have a very special guest. Of course, everyone's a special guest that we have on Lunch with Legacy Leaders. But for those who may not know what various types of attorneys do, we're going to give you an inside look today. So I'd like to welcome Mr. DeWayne Terry, who's a partner at Rubenstein Law. Welcome, DeWayne.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you. And how are you this Thursday afternoon?
I'm refreshed and inspired. I'm looking forward to a happy weekend, festive weekend, and just glad to be able to be a part of what we're doing here today.
Absolutely. Well, before we dive into our conversation, I just want to formally introduce you by just going over your bio briefly with our audience. So born in Jacksonville, Florida, following graduation from the Bowles School, DeWayne studied at Duke University, where he received his Bachelor of Arts in Public Policy. After a brief professional sports career, he moved to South Florida to pursue his law degree at St. Thomas School of Law. DeWayne began his legal career at Miami-Dade County as an assistant state attorney under the leadership of the Honorable Catherine Fernandez Brundle. He continued his public service as an assistant staff counsel for the Florida Bar's Miami office and later went on to work in the civil, criminal, and family law divisions, earning a distinguished reputation as a skilled trial attorney in the South Florida legal community. In 2010, DeWayne joined Rubenstein Law, where he went on to lead the firm's personal injury protection litigation division. His expertise includes civil, criminal, family law, and personal injury, which also includes auto and motor vehicle accidents, wrongful death, slip and fall, and negligence claims. A member of both the Florida Bar, National Bar, Miami-Dade Bar, and the Wilkie D. Ferguson Bar, and the Florida Justice Association. DeWayne enjoyed a brief free agent career with the Dallas Cowboys, Tampa Buccaneers, and the Indianapolis Colts. Outside of work, he's affiliated with the Miramar Optimist Club as a youth football coach, the Sigma Alpha chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, and Offspring Masonic Lodge number 252. He's a member of the Greater St. Paul AME Church located in Coconut Grove, and a longtime supporter of the Miami Bahamas Goombay Festival. And while not working or volunteering, which I don't know when that is, DeWayne, he enjoys music, singing, and traveling and family. So thank you again and welcome again.
Thank you so much. That's the Zeta Nu chapter. That's changed. Zeta Nu chapter. My boss list is Tim Faison. Give a shout out to him. But thank you. That was great. You did
awesome. Well, thank you. So you're a partner at one of the nation's largest personal injury firms in the country. And I know in your bio, we read a little bit about your journey, but I always like to give my guests an opportunity to really kind of share their personal journey and their why. So share with us your personal journey and how you got to where you are today.
Well, you briefly mentioned that I had a football career. I was an athlete, and like a lot of young Black men growing up, sports was a way out. It was an opportunity to excel and be different and better, and that was the route I took initially. But then I wound up going to the Bowles School, which is a prominent prep school, and going to Duke University, and realizing that athletics was just the beginning. of opportunities, and I wanted to give back to where I came from. And so I went into law. I wanted to be Johnny Cochran. I wanted to be the guy that was in front of a jury making things right. And law was where I landed, and I enjoy it. I've been an attorney going on 27, 28 years now, and it is absolutely fulfilling for me to give back to the community that inspired me to be an attorney.
That is awesome. Before we get into, because I think, someone in the professional field, business community like me, there's so many different types of lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
And I oftentimes get called, oh, I need a lawyer for this and lawyer for that. I'm
Right.
like, okay, let me think of who specializes and practices what.
Right. That's fair.
Right. So in your case, you actually have multiple expertise, but your primary focus is on personal injury. Okay. So kind of take us through what that area of law practice entails.
All right. So at its core, I'm what you call a trial lawyer. I'm the attorney that's in court making the arguments to a jury. But my day-to-day work is as a personal injury attorney. And that is the type of attorney that addresses the injuries you receive due to the negligence of someone else. That could be a car accident. That could be a slip and fall. That could be you are assaulted at a complex or somewhere on someone else's premises where they knew or should have known that an adequate amount of security was needed. And if they had that, you would not be injured. So medical malpractice cases, any type of case where you are injured due to the negligence of another, that personal injury I represent you for.
No, that's good to know. So we know that in some cases, laws may be broken by landlords, employers, and others regarding their personal responsibility. So I want to actually make this a twofold question. I want to, A, on the side of the person who may have been injured, might be a tenant, employee, et cetera, that don't know their rights, so to speak. What do they do in that case if they are injured or come into some type of incident?
Okay. All right. So if we'll take the premises liability issue first.
Okay.
The law is that if you are the owner of a property or premises or an establishment, you are obligated by law to make sure that that premises is free of any known and foreseeable dangers and or hazards. And so you have to make sure that it's safe to the invitees and or guests that are legally on that property. And so if one is injured, and the circumstance that comes up most is you go to an apartment complex and the apartment complex does not have adequate lighting such that it's feasible and makes it advantageous to someone that wants to rob you or do something where it's dimly lit, the dark spots, and you get robbed or injured or hurt. You have a cause of action against the property owner because they knew or should have known that you can't have dimly lit corners and nooks on your property, because you know from the area there's been numerous robberies. There have been numerous incidents where you know or should know you should have better lighting, and you should have a security guard. You should have someone there that roams the property, that polices the property. So that's the cause of action. But once you are injured, the first thing, obviously, to get medical attention. I mean, you can certainly call me once that's done, but you go get medical treatment. Unfortunately, in a lot of those instances, the person that's injured is dead. there's a shooting. I mean, that's the worst case scenario. Other cases, you fall in a hole or you trip over something that's on the property, an uneven sidewalk at a mall where it's been there for a while, and the property owner knew or should have known that they needed to repair it, but they didn't want to repair it because the cost was too high. One of the prime and more real examples is the condo on the beach, Surfside. I mean, clearly the evidence now is beginning to show where the owners of that building knew or should have known of the danger of the structure. And there was a cost, a $15 million cost that they knew about, but they didn't want to pay that. And they didn't want to activate and make that building safe. And tragically, you see the result. So that's what, to answer your question, if you are injured, you need to get medical treatment, but certainly call me to guide you through the issues and liability where you are in the gray.
Well, you actually kind of summarized both, because my part two was going to be for those that may be employers or, like you said, property owners. You kind of answer what their responsibility is. And I guess the lesson is to definitely, make sure you're staying on top of, different repairs and maintenance and things that come up that could potentially put someone in danger, and then you at risk for, a multi-million-dollar lawsuit.
Right.
in some instances.
And to be more specific, when it comes to the African American community, these apartment complexes, I found, they become absentee. The owners are absentee slumlords. They build these buildings and people move in, and they may be nice for a year or two, but as time goes on, you see the property, it's not pressure washed as much. The security guard that once had a security guard at the gate or in the guard tower is no longer there. And then you start seeing sneakers on the wire, and people come in when they want to and leave when they want to, and they just take the rent. They lease some of them out to maybe public housing, and the next thing you know, the property, that neighborhood or that premises becomes a feeding ground, if you will, for those that want to take advantage. And but the rent is still being paid, and they're still getting money. Those people are the people I sue, because I feel as though you build these properties in the community, lure people in, and then you don't want to take care of the property, and you don't care that there's shootings, or that the back part of the building, in the back part where it's really dark, is where the gambling house is and where the drugs are being sold. You know it's there, but you don't want to stop that, because you love the traffic. You love the fact that you're always going to have a tenant that wants to move in there, and you'll take that rent that you get, but you don't care about having it safe and secure, because it's in a neighborhood that you really don't care about anyway. I sue them, and that's how one of the things I fight back. The only way they're going to listen is if you hit them in the pocket enough. Then they'll start to make Overtown look just like Miami Beach. Not to use we're here in Miami. That's one of the, make the haves or the have-nots just as much as feasible as those that have. So.
No, I think that's a good point, because when you do look at, communities, especially in lower income communities, the properties have tons of hazards, tons.
Yeah.
And I don't think people understand that they have a right to report that, or, if something does happen to them, that they may have some, rights to compensation. I don't think they really know that. So it's good that you're able to give that information.
And typically it's because of fear of reprisals from the owners. If I go complain, they're going to get rid of me, and I don't have a place to go. And so you take it, if you're not bleeding and the air is not off and you can survive, you're not going to complain about that big old hole over in the parking lot. You're just gonna walk around it and you tolerate. And we need to make people accountable to us, and we also have to be more accountable for ourselves. We have to own what we do wrong and step up. But absolutely never allow the system or anyone to trample over your rights. Too many people have died and fought and struggled for you to have the right. So you absolutely must take advantage of that. And that goes to everything like voting. It goes to all of the things that we do. And that's part of the reason why I have the platform I have at Rubenstein Law. The community involvement that we do is to invite and to make sure that people know about their rights.
No, that's good. And also, I think a lot of I guess because what gets marketed the most when it comes to personal injury attorneys are car accidents. So I think most people, when they're thinking about, personal injury, they often think, oh, I'll call a personal injury attorney if I'm in a car accident, but not necessarily for some of the other things that may occur. So I'm really happy that you're speaking about kind of the breadth and depth of the other areas that are covered under personal injury. And there are like a lot of personal injury attorneys out there. So what is it that really makes you stand out, DeWayne?
Well, not only am I a trial lawyer, I'm engaged in the community. I'm a member of, I am a Mason, Offspring 252, and out of Coconut Grove. I'm a Q, I'm a Omega Psi Phi, and I'm in my church. And community is the root of everything I do. And that's the difference. I don't talk the talk, I walk the walk, I live it. My clients come to me not because they see me on a commercial, not because they call me because they know or someone knows who I am and what I do. I have 5 kids, and I'm active in the community. I find that, churches, schools, and the average everyday person is certainly the basis of everything I do, and I truly enjoy it. That's what makes me different. I enjoy giving back. I probably will never be the billionaire guy sitting on, because I give back too much. If I make if I get a piece of bread, I will give back a portion of that. If everybody doesn't eat, I don't feel comfortable eating. And that's not a very good thing to have in a capitalistic society, but that's how I get my blessings. I believe truly in helping my brother man, black, white, purple, green. The key is that we are all here together. We all breathe the same air, and you are only as strong as your weakest link. That's the key. We as a people, black people specifically, are only as strong as our weakest link. And when we decide, I don't want to preach, but when we decide that we are going to uplift each other, and there's so many things that we create that separate us, oh, you don't drive the same kind of car, you live in the wrong neighborhood, or your hair is not, your skin color is not, and we just, we divide, or we have been divided, and therefore we're weaker. But once we come together and we work together, so one of the things I love about being a Mason, Masons always meet on the level. You don't have to be rich, poor. We come together. And once we do that as a people, we are stronger than everything. And so I use my practice to kind of bring that in. I mean, I turn many cases away because I can't help you. And I'm not going to lie to you and say I can help you when I can't. I'll send you to someone, and don't ask for money. Say, hey, this is the lawyer that can handle your case. Giving back, that's the key for me. Giving back. I think as long as I breathe and I'm able to work, giving back is the key. And I think you give back, it comes back in twofold, right?
No, absolutely. I strongly agree with that. How do you how do you empower other, um, not just attorneys, but especially Black men in our community to give back? How do you illustrate the importance to them of giving back? Of course, others in the community as well, but in particular, sometimes we find a shortage of Black men that are in mentoring roles, for example, especially professionals such as yourself.
Right.
So how do you encourage others to follow in your footsteps?
So I don't know if it's as much encouraging them, but leading by example probably would be the way I would describe it. I mean, I show up at the events. There are certain things that happen in the community, and I'm there. And I work and I'm there. And I've not met a Black man or any man or woman or child. You have to be careful. That if they are shown the beauty of giving back, that it's not infectious and they don't come and do it again. So leading by example, it is so fulfilling to uplift your brother man. I mean, I find it as one of the greatest things, in life for me, to see and to help another person and to change their life. The very first time I won a case for a client and gave them the check, it was enough money that it changed their whole trajectory in life. And the look to go from destitute, worried about where your next meal is coming from, to now living your dream, that is more inspiring to me. So leading by example and seeing the results of your labors will certainly inspire you. And again, we're only as strong as our weakest link. Uplift another, and you will get blessed, and you'll see. You certainly will. That's my mantra. That's what I roll off of.
I love your mantra. Absolutely. Let me ask you. I'm gonna go back to the personal injury, because sometimes there are some negative perceptions around personal injury attorneys.
Yeah.
Some they call ambulance chasers or whatever, or it's just about, let me get this money for the clients, or the perception is that really and truly the attorneys get most of the money in the case. So how do you combat those different perceptions around your profession?
Right. So for me, particularly being a Black personal injury attorney, there are very few of us in the first place, personal injury attorneys, even fewer that are good, really, really good. I'm really, really good. Money is not the motivation for me helping my clients. I'm very honest with what the rates are. If the Florida bar dictates what the fees are, it's 33%. You can lower that, but you certainly can't raise that. 33%, if it goes to trial, there's 40%. That's a standard Florida bar contract. It can be lower, and that's sometimes negotiated between the lawyer and the client, but that's the standard. And you never steal from your client. You never do anything that will damage the reputation of the craft, of what we do as lawyers. You're in such a powerful position as an attorney. The person comes to you and they give you all of their pains, their woes, and they rely upon you. So you're in a really, really powerful position, powerful to help, but certainly powerful to hurt. There was a time in my career where I was a Florida bar prosecutor. I put lawyers in jail. I went and found lawyers that stole people's money or did things wrong to other people, clients, and I made them pay, because that hurts everybody. That whole ambulance chaser, he's a bad lawyer, the image of the slick talking lawyer walks in and no, that's the good lawyers love helping people and doing their job. I do everything I can to dispel that stereotypical image, particularly as an African-American attorney, because, clients come to me, I have a reputation to uphold, not only as who I am in the community, but to make sure that I treat that client well. So they say, hey, that lawyer, that Black lawyer is a good lawyer. And I want to make sure that stays that way. I don't want people to say, I'm not going to him, because that happens. That happens. I want to dispel all of that by doing just good quality work and being honest with my clients. I find if you're honest with your client, everything works out. Honesty and don't steal. Do not take your client's money, lawyers. Do not.
Thank you for putting that out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's important. That's important.
So, what do you have any? I know you do a lot of work in the community. Are there any special initiatives or programs that you'd like to highlight or share with us?
Yeah, so I'm involved. One of the things that I've been focused on recently is mental health. So I sit on the board of a group called the Friendship Circle. And the Friendship Circle deals with autism and mental health. And in our community, the Black community, going to the doctor for physical sometimes is not the thing we do. I don't know why, but, particularly Black men, we don't want to go to the doctor. I don't know why that is. I don't know if I have to do some more research. I don't know if it was something that was done to us a long time ago where we don't trust. I don't know. But mental health is certainly not something we address. He just touched. We gonna pray about it. No, there are chemical imbalances in the brain that can be treated, and you gotta go if they're mental. So mental health is huge and real, and I have personal relationships with members, family members that deal with that. And so I became involved with the Friendship Circle, and it is a organization, Rabbi Harlick, in South Dade, where the Friendship Circle pairs children that are autistic with children that are not, and they become friends, and they become comfortable in learning how to negotiate a world where everything is different. Until you see and experience autism, you can't conceptualize the person that is socially or does not have the ability to function in a day-to-day because they perceive things differently. Typically are very, very intelligent people, but it is a social disconnect, the inability to function in a grand scale, in a collective scale. So I find that in the African American community, and by the way, insurance doesn't pay for some of the treatments that are needed. So the people that suffer the most, the unseen victims, are people in the poor communities, Black people, Hispanic people that are underrepresented because they don't have the money, the thousands of dollars that it takes to go to a special school. And so oftentimes, and I hate to say it, but you go to the house and the cousin is in the back room and nobody goes in there. He just said, he never, but he has mental health issues. But, what do you do if you're forced to? Do I pay the light bill, or do I go pay the doctor for my child to get this therapy? And those are the decisions that have to be made. The Friendship Circle is trying to bridge that gap. And that's one of the initiatives that I work on, along with my Masonic brothers, my Lodge brothers. We always go in the community and help. And that's one of the things we are obligated to do as Masons, is to help build our community. But I'm focused on trying to bring mental health awareness to the Black community, poor community, Hispanic community, because we need that. We need that so desperately. As a lawyer, I see so many instances where people go to jail, not because they're criminals, but because there's a mental health issue. And unfortunately, our police are not trained to deal with that as yet. I mean, they're afraid for their lives. And so you get there and someone's waving a knife, they end up dead and it's a mental health issue. So, and I'm deeply passionate about that. We have to bring that to the awareness, certainly, and try to inspire more young people to go into the mental health arena. Psychiatrists, MDs that actually know about the mental health. That's a booming field, and so That's my passion right now. Along with trying to revive a music career. I think I missed my boat, but I'm gonna try to bring it back in some way. If the '70s ever come back, if the crooner ever comes back, I think I might have a job. But
well, listen, no, pause on that singing career. We're going to get to that in a second, but I do want to touch on. I'm happy that mental health is one of your primary focal points. Do you think that Black men seek therapy enough?
No,
or at all? It's like
not at all. You are not going to listen. We're just built differently. I don't know what, but we have been put in a position where we have to be strong, and we have to face it. And the image or the stereotype of a Black man, a strong Black, is this 6'5" African brother with muscles and Wakanda. And that's just not true. We are just as frail and emotional and sensitive but we wear that, and it's very difficult to let that guard down. And we drive ourselves crazy. We'll drive ourselves crazy because if we don't have reached that level of success that we think is important, then we start doubting ourselves and we go into depression. And sometimes you self-medicate and it becomes a circle, and you just look for quick, brief moments of happiness. Yeah, man, the first time I went and sat on somebody's couch, it was very difficult. You can't lie to yourself. You can lie to everybody else. You can pretend and make everything look good. But when you look and you delve into yourself, it's the most terrifying thing in the world. You're looking at yourself, and self says to self, you're lying, right? You're lying, right? And it's hard. And once you come to that comfort zone where you can tell yourself, and I don't know, maybe it's your spirituality, you can actually pray to God and whomever your deity is, you envelop, you unwrap your soul and allow that healing to come in. It makes you stronger. But yeah, man, I mean, no, brothers, we definitely need to go and seek. I mean, there's been too much in the history of mankind that Black men have had to suffer, and so they're definitely lingering, particularly in America, lingering effects of years of trying to figure out who you are, avoiding the other side of the tracks, being accepted. And so, yeah, it takes some mental health coaching to get back in a position where you can be in the game and actually be effective and be a good father and be a good leader. Got to know yourself first. So, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I wish I could start that Black Men Mental Health Organization.
Well, I don't think you have the wish.
Right.
It sounds like you have the passion, you have the knowledge, you have some resources.
Yeah.
It would be great to start a movement of Black men. I mean, I know there's like a website, Black Girl Therapy, but I think our men need to also, have some therapy and some healing and all of that good stuff that's gonna just make them and our community as a whole better. So who knows? We might see you lead that charge after this call. This call.
Bring it on.
So before I want to be mindful of your time, and we're winding down. What you've already dropped so many great nuggets with our audience here today, and we have some great comments, and this is just one gentleman talking about breaking through the ego. Yes, our men need to break through the ego, but what are do you have a takeaway, a golden nugget that you'd want to leave with our listeners today?
Yeah. Teamwork makes the dream work. Teamwork makes the dream work. If we are collective as a team, as a community, our relationships with each other, Black people, creating a team where you're only as strong as your weakest link, uplifting another brother, another person, uplifting that person, making them better, even if it means you don't get a benefit, helping another. teamwork makes the dream work, because there was a time in history when the Black community was a team. And it was a village. It was, the lady on the corner that sat on the porch knew everything that happened. And before you got home or did something wrong, she had called or talked to somebody, and it was a group effort. We got to get back to some of that. I mean, teamwork makes the dream work. That's what I would leave as a nugget. Teamwork makes the dream work. Let's be a better team.
I love that. Let's bring the village back.
Yeah.
We got to put some hashtags with that. Hashtag teamwork, make the dream work. Hashtag bring the village back.
Yeah, there you go. I like that.
With DeWayne, this has been great. I think we could have this conversation all afternoon. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us and really inform us about not just the work you do in our community, which is amazing. Please keep that up. But the work you do in your professions and the things that we should know as citizens. And, we're so thankful for you to, impart that information on us this afternoon.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Well, stay with me briefly while I just do some quick announcements. Okay. I want to thank our sponsors again, Broward Health, AARP, the Solid Waste Authority of Palm Beach County, and the African American Black Alzheimer's Disease Initiative at the John P. Huntsman Miller Institute for Human Genomics, University of Miami Miller School of Medicine. Please check out our current issue featuring our top educators in South Florida at miamediagroup.com. I want to congratulate all of our honorees. It's just amazing what educators do in our community. You all are our heartbeat. And so we just want to congratulate you and continue to recognize all of your efforts. Please remember to tune into our show, Soul, hosted by Miss Nikki Jellin, every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. as we disseminate intellectual entertainment on fashion, arts, and culture, relationships, mental health, and food in South Florida. And you can also check that out at miamediagrp.com. Make sure you sign up for our weekly newsletter. And as always, please share this video because there's something that someone will benefit from other than yourself. So please share the video and mark your calendar for next Thursday at noon, where we'll have another very special guest. Thank you again, DeWayne, and thank you everyone for tuning in and joining us this afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and everyone, please have a safe and wonderful holiday weekend, and we'll be back with you next week.